Hey, what's going on, my people? Thank you for tuning in, Profe Guy. So real quick, I wanted to show you all that I finally got my residency, boom, and I finally got my boom, 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 Cedula, boom, boom. So in this video, I will talk to you all about how I got my residency in Cedula, the process, requirements, and all of that, and all the things you need to know with the process. So let's get started.
Couldn't take it no more, so I left the matrix.
And my money just tripled. I had a good time and it cost me a little. So I found peace, tranquility, faith in my abilities.
I couldn't fake no more, so I left the matrix.
First, I want to talk to you all about the types of visas, because there is a long list of visas that can qualify you for residency here in Ecuador. And I feel like Ecuador is a great option for that. There's a lot of other countries, such as my experience in the Dominican Republic, where there weren't so many visa options. But in Ecuador, there are many visa options. So let's get to it. First visa option is professional visa. That is, if you have a 4-year degree or more with a university, accredited university, of course, that can be used as a way to get a visa. And the qualifications for that is very low. Essentially, as long as your degree can be certified, then you can use that to actually get your visa here, your residency here. And the amount of money that you need for that is $450 a month, which is the bare minimum salary for Ecuadorians. There's also a type of visa called the pension visa, and that pension visa requires a higher salary, which is right now $13.50 a month. And that pension visa is just for pension. So if you're getting like Social Security or military, like VA disability or annuities or something like that, you can use that for the pension route. Now, if you are working remotely, you can also use the rentier visa, which is basically you have to qualify for the same amount of money, $13.50, which is 3 times the minimum salary here in Ecuador, and that should get you in the door. Also, for those folks who are in school, you want to come here to study, basically all you have to do is make $450 a month, or the person who is supporting you has to make that amount of money, and you should be able to get your foot in the door. And those are the main types of visas. There's a long list, like I said, but those are the main ones that people tend to go for. So I'm pretty sure that's probably what you guys are looking for the most part. Now, the necessary documents. So the required documents, it's a very short list. Like, for example, in my case, I went the pension route. I'm not technically retired, but I have a pension in any case. So therefore, I use that to qualify for the retirement visa. And that only required my pension letter, which had to be apostilled, right? Also, for the pensioners, the last 3 bank statements. So, and that has to be certified by a notary here in Ecuador. So how that works is, when you get to Ecuador, you actually have to go to the notary. You have to sit down with the notary, go to your bank's website. You have to put in your username, password, log in, go to bank statements, and actually print those last 3 bank statements. And the notary would go through the bank statements and verify that, yes, this person is this person, and this is their deposits. This is their bank account. So that's how that works. Also, you need to have your, if you're from the U.S., for example, you need your FBI background check. In addition to that, if you're from the U.S., you also need your state background check. And both of those need to be apostilled. The FBI background check is apostilled by the federal government, and the state background check is apostilled by that state. So if you got a state background check from Florida, you can't have Arizona apostle that. Well, you could, but they want to see Florida's actual apostle, not Arizona. So that's it. Those are the things you need. So if you can come up with that short list of documents, that will get you in the door to get your residency here in Ecuador as a pensioner. And the process, what's the process like? So I'll tell you this. I started the process maybe 2 months before I arrived here in Ecuador. So 2 months before I arrived here in Ecuador, I reached out to an agency here in Ecuador to see if I can get their assistance with the process. Because after my experience with the Dominican Republic, I knew that it could be a headache going through the process. But because I was somewhat familiar with the country, and I had people in the country that could assist me if I needed it, therefore that process I was more than willing to go through, the process as annoying as it was, and back and forth with the immigration, etc. Here in Ecuador, I don't know anyone, so I didn't have anyone to rely on the ground. So I have preferred to go through an agency that can help my process be more smoothly and without a bunch of hassles and hiccups. So 2 months before I arrived here, I reached out to an agency. They asked if they could assist. They sent me a list of documents. I already had the documents, so I immediately sent those scanned documents back. They said I was good to go and asked me to let them know when I was actually arriving in country. I did that, and a month before I got here, they actually sent me the date. I had a date for the visa appointment here in Ecuador. So once I arrived, that date was 3 weeks out from my arrival date. So when I arrived here, I let them know I was here. So that same week, a couple of things we had to do. So first, the agency went through my documents again, made sure I had everything and all the originals, all was good. Then after that, the following week, we actually went to the migration office here in Quito, and we had to get a printout of the migratory movements printout. So basically, it's a printout of all your arrivals and departures here in the country. So it's like a certified government document, and they certified it and everything. So we needed that. That only costed $5. And the following week, I got my bank statement certified. So that was it. And after that, all was good. That's all I needed. And I went through the process, and boom. As soon as the same day we had our visa appointment, the same day we walked out with our residencies, my wife and I, and we had our order to get a Cedula. So that's a separate document. And the following day, we actually got our Cedula with that document. So recently here in Ecuador, just like there is an issue with the passports in the United States and the Dominican Republic, with people getting passports because there's a shortage of materials for the passports, here in Ecuador, there has been a shortage in materials for the Cedula. However, we got super lucky because today we went in with our orders to get a Cedula, and the same day we were able to get a Cedula. So that is awesome. Really grateful for that, because that just saves us a lot of time. Also, if you are married and you are going through the residency process here in Ecuador, it is important after you get your residency visa to actually go and register your marriage with the Registro Civil, so the civil registry. And that is so that your marriage is official and on record here in Ecuador. and that would save you a lot of trouble in the different government process you have to go through here in Ecuador. Yes, your cellular will actually say you're married, and on the back of your cellular, you'll actually have the name, the full name of your spouse, which is interesting. So the cellular here has a lot more information than the cellular in the Dominican Republic or your average driver's license or / ID in the United States. So now what? Now what? Well, we just opened a bank account with Banco Guayaquil. That process was very smooth, and I remember reading, I read a lot of different blogs, but I remember watching specifically someone say that, hey, Banco Guayaquil is the easiest bank to deal with when you are a foreigner. And I second that. Now, originally, I went to Banco Guayaquil to open an account with just my passport. So I went on their website to say, hey, I've typed in, how do I open a bank account as a foreigner? And they had a list of things. I got those list of things. I went to the bank, said, hey, here's everything. And they accepted that. However, the one thing I needed to add to that was a letter requesting to open a bank account. So I added that, and my application was complete. However, it has to go through some extra steps of extra approvals because I'm just a tourist. So therefore, it did not get done in time, quickly. So therefore, once I got my visa of my residency, I went there with my cellular, and they were like, boom, easy. I got my account open the same day. So when you have a cellular, you can have your account open the same day. At the same time, before I went to Banco Guayaquil, I went to Banco Pacifico. And Banco Pacifico, I showed my, had all the documents that they told me I needed on the website. But because my cellular says that I am temporary, like I have a temporary residency, the guy was like, you have a temporary residency, so therefore you're gonna need some references. And the references, actually each reference, 2 references, and each reference actually has to write a letter on my behalf, right? So I don't know anyone in Ecuador, I'm gonna be honest, outside the guy I went through for my insurance, right? Oh yeah, insurance is a requirement for your residency, but that's something you do once you get into country. And so that's the only guy I know, and apart from him, I know the person from the agency that I've been working with for the visa process. That's it. So theoretically, I could have used those 2 persons to write a letter for my behalf, but if I can go through Banco Guayaquil and skip that process, that's much easier, right? So there you have it. Now that I'm a resident here, what am I going to do? I am going to, I'll tell you this, it really feels good to be a resident here, official resident here, and have a cellular, because pretty much everywhere you go, they ask for your cellular or your cellular ID number, which is, if you don't have it, it's kind of like, so it's good to have it. One thing I think is really important for those of you who have not been to Ecuador is when you go to Ecuador store, restaurant, anywhere, for the receipt, they give you 2 options. I know it gets annoying because it's like, just give me the receipt, but no, they have to ask you this by law, right? They call it con datos or sin datos, which is with, I guess, information or without information. And it's your personal information, right? So basically, if you add your personal information in there, con datos, and you give them your cellular, basically your name will pop up, and that money, I guess those taxes, you can actually get back. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but that's how it was explained to me. So if you're just a regular tourist and you don't have a cellular, therefore you're just going to say without sin datos, without information, because your information is not going to pull up with your passport number or with your ID number from your home country. So that's how that works. But yeah, that's basically it. The next week, next week, we're going to be exploring a lot of places. We're going to be going to Cuenca, Baños. Sometime down the line, we're going to be going to Guayaquil and Montanita. And we'll go to maybe a resort or two while we're here. And that's it. We really do not plan on being in Ecuador that long. This was a temporary move for us, not a definite move, indefinite move, or permanent move. This was really an exploratory experiment for us, where we wanted to come to Ecuador and use this experiment for us to actually travel and go through the residency process and really like feel like I guess a resident of Ecuador until it was time for us to go to the next countries. Now, to the next country we're going to go to, I'm not going to tell you what country that is yet. Some of you who've been following my channel already know what that country is. But the next country we're going to go to, we're actually going to be there for permanently. So definitely, we plan to be there for at least a few years. You know, it's not going to be like a turn and burn that we're doing here in Ecuador. However, while we're here, we really want to be able to go through the process and explore the country, get to know the country, talk to people, and that's all that content I'll be putting out real soon. So just stay tuned. And that's all I got for this video. I really want to thank you all for checking in with this video, checking me out. I hope you guys learned something through my experience with the residency process and the process of getting your cedula, etc. here in Ecuador. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment and I'll get back to you shortly. And si tú no hablas inglés, si tú solo hablas español, yo hice ese video en español con mi esposa y tú puedes chequear ese video en mi otro canal en español, Profe Gallo en español, and you'll be able to check out information that we're going through here in Ecuador in Spanish. So whatever I do in Spanish, I try to do in English as well, so that I make sure that my English speakers are able to get the same content and same information. So that's all I got. Thank you for tuning in, Profe Gallo. Please give it a like, share, subscribe, and I'll be checking in with you all real soon. Peace. What up, my people? Hola, mi gente. Gracias por tu apoyo. Da me gusta, sigue mi canal y comparte con toda tu familia. Thank you for supporting my channel. Please give it a like and subscribe and share with all your family if you enjoy my content. Peace.